Brian's taking videos.
Yeah, smile. Did you get me on the lecture? Yeah, we brought along the family and sister to one of the mom and dad and
The movie wedding pictures. Oh, those are neat. You'll have
well,
to
I
see
mean the whole deal, and that's part of it.
Oh yeah, that's the beginning. We've got
Zippers. You can load them. Don't tilt the camera because you can zip it down.
Beth and Brian's cooler has some Sprite
No,
Diet
they'll
Coke.
see the camera going down. They'll think you're
There's
going
Diet
down to
Sprite,
put your
regular
zipper
Sprite Diet
on.
Coke.
Cooler than here?
Beth and Brian's. I don't
Lunch somewhere dinner. Thanks for everybody's in. The rooms with cameras. Did you see that? Yeah, I see that. Well, my brother is here. I wonder what you're doing.
Dad, you're looking for it. Take this back to the room.
Okay.
Oh, it's about time, guys.
Here, right here.
He's still He's short.
Go ahead. I'll get that.
Barbershop.
Oh, he's taking them.
So son and he and Lisa get together tonight. Wood shedding. What morning?
Watch that tonight. Excuse me. Is this right down there? Yeah. You don't write down the headline. That's right there. That building out there for lights on. Go down and. You know where we were when we check in? Okay. It's right there. Okay. It's in the back.
However many groups that turns out to be, and not necessarily family, just wherever you are. And what we'll do is just count off, I think, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All the ones would go together, and all the twos would go together, and so on. And just talk about quickly what has happened in the last 2 years since the last reunion. In our case, it would be the last 4 years, wouldn't it? But basically the last 2 years since the last reunion, and just something good, bad, or indifferent that you might want to say. And then one person from the group of 5 would be the spokesperson for the group, and try to remember what each of the other 4 and he or she themselves said. And then just report that back after a little discussion, so that all the ones would get together and in this corner say, and all the 2s there, and all the 3s there, and all the 4s, and so on, and just share something, and spend maybe, what would you say, 10 minutes?
Oh, no.
15 minutes?
We thought that might be easier than each individual speaking.
So much for a leader.
On the hook. You dethroned him.
You know, I got the floor now, lady.
We thought it might be more comfortable than just having one person speak to the whole group. Does that feel more comfortable, or would we just like to have each one share as they want?
Count off.
Count off?
I just don't think that you want to have to speak. The alternative is just to go around the room and have everybody say something.
Are there any announcements, Pete, about activities tomorrow that could be made now?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Any other
I'll point them out so you can associate a name with the face.
They're supposed to be sitting.
Art Yeoman, right there.
Hey,
Hold the applause.
for he's a jolly good fellow.
Struble. Shirley Struble. And Rachel Stockman. Right there. And me, Mike Barton. I'll start with just the order we went in. I'll start with Art. The highlight of Art's the last 2 years is that, well, part of this, and Grandma will probably tell us the same story. Not to take the wind out of that, but for her 75th birthday, we gave him a trip to Hawaii for 2 weeks. So that was the highlight of his 2 years. He said that the thing that he thought most beautiful about Hawaii was the flowers. And the girls.
I didn't say hula girls.
Well, he said one girl. The girl
Not necessarily in that order, right?
The girl I was with.
Yeah. Okay. And then the other thing is that Art is Florence Nightingale that we're not.
Yes.
He's been the best nurse that Grandma could have.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 things that Art felt like were the highlights of the last 2 years. Bill and Shirley, I'll do both of you together since they, over the last 2 years, they traveled quite a bit, and they've concentrated their travels on South America over the last 2 years, South America and Central America. And they, the big highlight is they took a 4-week cruise, and they started in, you'll have to help me, Bill,
Santiago, Chile.
in Chile, and they sailed around the lower cape of South America and then came back up to
Rio.
Rio de Janeiro. They said that they're learning a lot of Spanish. They said that described the Latin people as very warm, and they by the same token thought that the flowers and all the life that they had seen down there were the most interesting things. They've also done some traveling in Central America. The other big thing is that Shirley has been involved in the last year in a program that raises money for like a children's fund, and it involves a rummage sale, and Shirley was kind of the chairperson of this board, and they were able to raise $100,000 to help children. Moving right along to Rachel Stockman. Now this is the good one. Rachel Stockman, she spent the last summer, she went to a fine arts camp where she learned sign language, and she learned some dance, and
Music?
music, and theater. And the other thing is that this year she's going to be a 7th grader in junior high. Moving right up. And then with Peggy being busy in Lincoln, Rachel's taken right over and seems to be running the house and doing quite a good job of it. Peggy's a little concerned about her job. At least that's what Rachel tells me. Okay, and then on what I've done is just before the last family reunion, we just come back from a trip from Europe for we were there for 6 weeks and traveled basically all over. And then graduated from college. And I got a degree in construction management, graduated in the top of my class. So I'm happy about that. And I'm working now out in California for a construction company, putting my degree to work. We've been there for about a year and a half. Last summer, another highlight was that I married Susan over here. That's about it. It's Group 8.
Good job. Well, let's just move right on down the line and go to 7.
All right.
Katie.
Those in my group, Susie, McKenzie, and Molly, and Sally, and myself. And I guess I'll start with Sally. She's described her life as a typical middle-class, middle-aged person.
Middle-aged?
Oh, middle-aged. She enjoys taking care of her home and her garden, and we had so much to talk about. That was why we were late here. She's been working with a food co-op type of thing. What's it called again?
Central Virginia Food Bank.
And they gather, like when trucks wreck and just all different types of maybe damaged packages and whatnot. They gather hundreds and thousands of pounds of food, and then different nonprofit organizations come, different food banks and soup lines come and kind of go shopping there. So she works there one day a week and has coordinated a lot of the activities there. And I guess she helped with the Hands Across America, coordinated that for Richmond, Virginia area, and plays tennis just for fun. And Molly is going to be in the 5th grade. She is an active dancer and gymnast, and she got to go to Florida this year for a competition in dancing. She doesn't like school. She likes to travel, but she hates driving in the car. And she's really glad to be here.
Oh, good.
We're glad to have her.
I enjoy Molly a lot.
Yeah.
And Susie said she's gone through a lot of spiritual growth in the last 2 years. She continues to be really active at Immaculate Conception?
No, Incarnation.
Incarnation, that's right. Incarnation, you guys don't know it. And she's famous for her funeral lunches.
People are dying again.
Easy.
And she's very active in her children and their girls' lives at school. I think she must be a great mother.
Yeah.
Seems like it.
Yeah.
I agree.
And I've, since our last reunion, have spent 2 years traveling with the Catholic outreach to youth called the National Evangelization Teams. And both years, I just to tell you where I went, I was in Idaho, in Montana, in Spokane area. And then after Christmas, we get 2 weeks off for Christmas. And then I was in Ohio, Mississippi, Arkansas, and the Green Bay area. And what our organization, there's about this last year there were 68 young people from all over the United States and Canada, Australia, and Trinidad, and we all gathered together in St. Paul and went through training. And basically, we're young people who are in love with the Lord and in love with our Catholic faith, and we wanted to share that for a year. So we made a commitment for a year to go out and work with young people. Just to tell you the scope, this last year I was on a team of 12, and we worked with 11,500 people on the retreats, and then we also like stay in homes, and it's been a really it's been a privilege to be able to do this kind of work, and I'll be continuing on staff for NET and helping with the training and organization of next year's teams. So that's what I've been doing, and I got to spend a month at home this summer. That was always good. But anyway,
Good job. Thanks, Katie. That was great. Let's have number 6.
Number 6.
All right.
And I'm Uncle Ed. The oldest of the group. And may I introduce Margaret, and Kathy, and Louise, and Larry. And I guess maybe we might start with the youngest, and that's Margaret, Maggie, who is 6.5 years old and is going into the 2nd grade come the fall. And she has had the use of a pool that is 3 feet deep in her backyard. She and her 2 sisters make great use of that pool. That I know firsthand. She's very proud of that. And she also has and shares with her sister a new hamster called Teddy. So that's a lot of fun. And on the way down here, she said the biggest thrill she's had is to ride the water slide at the Hill City camp that we stayed at about the 3rd night out, I guess it was, at those grounds there. And also this last 4th of July at Buffalo at Lake Pulaski with her other grand folks, their boat placed 4th in the parade on the 4th of July. First, I am sorry. First and 4th. And she's also a dancer and has won a trophy that I believe she described as that tall. And she's won, I think, 3 first place awards in her dancing club. And Kathy, during the last couple of years, moved out on her own and has an apartment in South Minneapolis on around 60th and Lindell, which is a big move. I remember moving out, a few years ago. I think the first time I went down to Louisville and stayed with Kay when I was about 15. But anyway, and she owns her first car. She has a new dog called Smokey. She has, I think in the last couple of years, started work and you put 3 years in at American Hardware Mutual Insurance Company on the shores of Lake Calhoun in Minneapolis. And let's see, I guess that about wraps it up, unless there's something you would... Oh, and for the first time, vacation in Florida. We happen to be part of the lucky ones that were with her, so we had a wonderful time down there. So that was fun. Now we have Larry and Louise. And with Louise, she finished her master's in psychology, which is really something. And she also is now working as a therapist, and also runs classes, you don't say runs classes, but has classes in aerobics. I don't know, more than one, I'm sure. I don't know how many you're having. You're so darn busy that they're hard to keep up with. And she's also, and I guess probably the proudest of being the fact that she's a wife, a good wife and a good mother. So another thing that I have to mention about the both of them, and they admitted this, they both told me the fact that they're 40 years old, they're in their 40s. So I think
Middle.
I could barely remember.
That's the edge of middle age.
Larry changed jobs and is with a Danish hearing aid company called Danavex.
Hey?
What?
Sir? This gentleman here, his name is Larry. I wish you'd talk to him. Your name again, sir? I can vouch for the fact that they have a new boat. We had a wonderful time, spent a wonderful time on that boat about 2 weeks ago out in Prior Lake. And it's just a beautiful boat. I don't know how many feet, but they've had a lot of fun with it, with their family and other families that they're acquainted with in the parish and what have you. So that is quite an acquisition. Where else are we? Well, I guess that's probably about it, and the family fun is a big part of it.
You, Ed.
Well, Ed is here. Let's see, I think one of the big things was the fact that Joanna and I have 6 grandchildren now, three girls and 3 boys, and we acquired our 3rd boy here, Michael, August 20th. Will be 2 years ago this August. And we are very proud of the other 5 grandchildren. I want you to know that. We do have a lot of fun with our kids. I've got to say that I feel very fortunate that we have the wonderful kids that we have and the fact that we have the great grandchildren. And we take advantage of it. We do spend a lot of time together, and it's been very enjoyable. I think another thing that came up recently that we have enjoyed doing was working on this family tree bit. It just so happens that the first contact was made through me, through who apparently will be one of our second cousin, I'm not sure the relationship, of a lady in Michigan by the name of Eleanor Struble Martin. She made the contact and went from there, and then Susie took over and did an awful lot of work time-wise. She enjoys it, so it's been no big deal to her. Patty came along and helped put it together, and we used Lee's equipment at his office, and everything has worked out well. And we'll have fun talking about that later. But I think that's probably about it for me. I'm very proud of the fact I've been sober for 10 years. I'm just proud of that. I'm not bragging. It's a day-by-day deal, and that's what I mentioned. Sure. But I will mention it. I guess that's about it for the number 6.
All right.
She has Michael, who's going to be 2 years old in August. And he's going to be a hockey player. And she just they have a new addition to their house. They just finished 3 months ago. Or 2 months ago. And Nick works at the Cleaners. Got a new car 3 months ago. And
We didn't really get into detail as we should have. We were just real brief. So
Just wait till next week.
And then Tim, he's just graduated from 8th grade. He's home tonight. And
what school are you going to, Andy?
Holy Angels.
Right.
He likes to play basketball.
Great. And
What about you, Andy?
And I'm going into 4th grade, 9 years old. Going on to 10 in January. And go baseball.
Good. Good for you, Andy.
Great job, Andrew.
We kind of classify ourselves as being a little boring. I can sit here, can't I?
No, you gotta get out in the middle.
No, I don't. I'll start with Pete, I guess. And we all know Pete's a little active, and he was involved in a lot of sports, I take it. And he skied on their new boat that they inherited, and Well, it's not? Okay. My mistake. And he's taking a trip to Florida. And the wedding that was 2 years ago, that was exciting for him, he said. And just what any typical, how old are you? I think a 12-year-old would do. And, okay, next in our group would be, I'll start with Gino. And Gino, they seem like everyone's been to Florida in this group, but Gino went to Florida and he spent some time in Orlando. And he said not much is new, I guess, in the last 2 years, but I know he gets into his sports. They've seen a few professional games up in the Twin Cities. And I'm looking forward to being out there so he can get me some tickets to some games, I think.
Good, Dan. Good.
And Keith said not much is new in Virginia, I don't know. But,
Nothing interesting's happened there since 1865.
right. British, you know. And then, well, he's taking a lot of trips, like one to Jamaica and one to Florida. I think was that correct?
No.
Okay, well.
I countered Florida with North Yorkshire.
Oh, well, okay, my mistake. So that was fun. All was new, and then, well, is that it? No, Kevin. There he is. He's hiding.
Wait a minute. Oh, here he is.
He said nothing is new in his life. But he took his 2 girls down to the dance, was it camp or something, in Florida. Competition. He said he enjoyed that a lot. And I think that's about all I got out of him. And with me, I've kind of been involved in some of my high school activities. With car accidents, you know, broken arms, and been in some of just sports and a few musicals that we've had. So that's kind of been fun, but, and that's it.
Where are you going to school?
Oh, no, okay, no, I'll be a freshman at St. Thomas.
All right. Thanks, Sam. Good job. Let's see, we're down to 3 now?
Okay, we're group 3, and I'll start with Mary. After the last reunion, Mary and Gino went to Mary's father's 90th birthday, and so then they had a reunion, I guess a reunion there also
In Vegas.
in Las Vegas, and then they took a trip to Florida also. It seems like everybody's going to Florida. And then just recently she's found that she has diabetes, and so she's coming to grips with that, and we'll work through that. So wish her well.
And our cat.
And oh yes, I have a great new cat.
Really?
No kidding. Yeah, that wakes Gino up in the morning by petting him on the yes, real early. And
Is
Brian.
it just hello, or you have to go out to the bathroom, or what?
He wants to go up.
And Brian and his wife can make the last reunion to have their son Michael, and then also just recently they put an addition on their house that they're very proud of, and they have bay windows and a fireplace, and so they just completed that, put a lot of time and effort into that. So I think they're just most of their time and their emotion and energies have gone into their son and their new house. Really proud of that. And John was mentioning their family went to Expo 86 in Vancouver, and just had a really good time there just as a family thing, and then took a family ski trip together. And then just recently he thought the most rewarding thing he's had is I guess like a seminar on like understanding your feelings and dealing with, I guess, traits of alcoholism, and then seeing how that affects your relationships and dealing with that. And he's really come to grips with his feelings and how to deal with relationships. Feels really proud of that. And so that's really good. and Melanie, as the dancer, I guess, and went down with Molly down to Florida. I guess had a great time, and I'm not really sure what type of dancing. Everything from tap dancing to jazz dancing, and learn new things each time. And it's like an extra thing outside of school, so that's pretty good for an 8th grader. Get out and do a lot of stuff. And myself, let's see, I'm studying architecture at the University of Colorado, and probably the most rewarding thing is about a month ago I got back from Europe. I went on a seminar, 6 weeks studying architecture through England and Scotland and Switzerland and Italy and Greece, and learned a lot about myself. Had plenty of time to figure things out for myself and what I wanted to do, as well as what our group was doing. So I have more drive and ready to go. Good. That's our group.
Great. Good job, Dennis. Number 2.
Never do. Let's see. We'll start with Heather. Heather recently went to New York in July for a dance competition, and she said they had a lot of fun doing that. They learned a lot of new techniques from different instructors for all the various kinds of dance she's been doing, so she said that was fun. But on sort of a serious side on her trip, she said seeing the poverty and some of the sadder parts of large city life, it kind of made her think and realize how fortunate she is and what she does have in her life now in comparison to what a lot of other people don't have. Let's see, you also went, where did you go before that? Florida, yeah, Florida. We've got 2 of those.
Change your mind, join us.
And she said that was mostly it, that the dance was a big part of it. And then for Patty, she got married, moved, and we started going back to school again. And she's in small business management, and she says she really enjoys that. She felt like when we were talking about the difference between an occupation and a career, she felt like she was in an occupation and at a dead end, and now she feels like she's moving into something that could really be a long-term career, and she can grow, and it will challenge her. Let's see, and they went to Florida. And they went on honeymoon to Puerto Vallarta and had a really good time there. Very good. And that is just about everything. And then for Peg, a highlight was Danny's graduation from high school. And
What do you mean that? Before we leave,
and then the fact that they had an exchange student last summer for 2 months from Mexico City, Karina, and we had fun doing that, and they might do it again sometime, is what you're thinking. And then she started, and it's clinical pastoral education, right? She started going into that, and it's been kind of a challenge because it's not a typical thing to do unless you're ordained. And she thought that would be a good challenge and something to focus her life on, as well as her family, to kind of expand things, since people are kind of growing in different directions, and this is something that she can move into. And you're going to finish that here pretty quick. One more week. Yeah, one more week. And she said it's been a real challenge too, because of the people she's been dealing with, or a certain person in her program is kind of difficult, so it's been personal and something hard to do as well as just the actual program. And
Becoming a grandmother.
oh yes, yes. How can I forget that? In all their lives, and she just loves playing with him, and he's brought out the playfulness and bringing a fresh air, being so young and little and fun to play with. And everybody, I think, has said that about Jimmy, that they really enjoyed being as well as bad as can be here. They won't make the last one either. That that's about everything. And then for Anne, she's also had something that's been sort of a big change in career-wise. She, after being away last summer when they were going to Europe, when she came back, she was kind of at a loss and wondering sort of what direction she wanted to go in. And she started up in the community, health.
It's for the state health department.
State health department.
Counselor certification.
Right. And she started out first just working part-time with them, and then slowly worked her way into more and more responsibility in a different direction. And now she's at a point where she's dealing with administrative and therapy it's outpatient, isn't it? And she coordinates their program there. And she said she's been working there for 2 years now, and feels like she's reached sort of an area where she'll be happy and should fulfill a lot of what she wants to do. And let's see, biking. Yeah, she's tried a lot of different sports, and she really enjoys biking. Although she did have a little setback a few days ago, she said that has not changed the way she feels about it. She's still going to go on with it. She's just not going to ride Pete's bike. And, their goal is to try to get in shape so that they can bike up from Boulder to Fort Collins, so they can visit some friends there, and they'll just stay the night and then come back, which is a pretty big challenge for biking.
It's what, 51?
Yeah.
For 1990, isn't it? Oh, no. Well, next month.
It's about 50 to 55 miles one way.
Yeah. We're gonna buy helmets too.
Annie, why don't you share with everybody the name of the clinic you work, according to the Boulder Sheriff and Police Department?
I also got a ticket on my bike for not stopping at a stop sign. And I had to pay $30, and I was just livid. It was 7 o'clock in the morning, and the guy came around the corner with his lights on and his sirens going my little bike. But anyway, he had made me spell everything, my name and everything, and then he said, what's your occupation? I said, counselor, and he said, where do you work? And I said, the Whole Person Health Center. Well, I got that home, and I was showing Pete this ticket, and I started reading it. He heard me say, I'm a counselor at the Hopeless Health Center. I wasn't mad anymore. They need lots of counselors. I was looking like that.
That's funny.
That was it.
How about you?
And let's see, I graduated from college also. Mike and I graduated together, and I have a major in animal science. And we got married in July and moved to California, so those were all big things for me to move through. Being in California is really nice. We're living in San Diego, and I enjoy it a lot. It's a nice place to live, but it is hard being so far away from family. And that took me a while when we first moved out there to adjust to that. I'm working in a veterinarian clinic in San Diego as an assistant to the veterinarian and receptionist. I just kind of float around and do a lot of different things, and it's been really interesting. I work with a great group of people. It's a fun job. And what else? Mike and I like to be active together, but it's hard with his job. He works long hours, so we don't spend much time together. That's one of the bad parts about it. But that's mostly it. Group number 1.
Good job.
Well, being we're last, I can take as much time. One thing that kind of struck me from my group was that everybody mentioned a lot of family things. I just thought that was important, just at the family reunion, that just how important everybody felt that was. First, I'd like to honor Grandma. She turned 76 this year, and she's really thankful for another year of life and looks forward to another year of good health. First highlight she mentioned was her Christmas trip to Hawaii this past Christmas with Art, and just that was a lot of fun. She was really thankful for the gift that was from the kids and to be able to do that. I know that's been a dream of hers all all your life, right? So, it's been a good thing, but it was a tough thing too. She had her hip replaced on April 16th, and she's been doing a really good job recovering from that, and hopes to keep getting better with that. And then another thing that's kept her busy, she's doing volunteer work at a nursing home. She spends time one-on-one with patients, and if they need a letter written, she'll write a letter for them. And I don't know exactly what else you're...
Well, it's just, whatever comes up.
Okay. And then Lee Rademacher was another person in our group. First thing he mentioned was he was thankful for their first anniversary in their marriage. And a big change for them was they settled into a new home in Minnetonka. It was just a short distance from right where he lived, and then just a few miles from where Patty was living. And then they took a belated honeymoon in November to Mexico together, which was a lot of fun. They also, somebody went to Florida in our group too. In March, went to Florida. Sounds like Lee keeps pretty busy. These are a couple of things that he mentioned that he enjoys a lot. He's involved in a barbershop quartet. Chorus. Okay. And he's also involved in racing some racehorses out of Canterbury Downs. And he said his work keeps him pretty busy. And he also celebrated a family reunion on his side just a week ago up in Alexandria, Minnesota. So that's Lee. The next person in our group was Peter Barton. First thing he started off was something that's been hard for him this past year, and that was having to say goodbye to all the kids in their family. Molly just left today for Sweden, and the other 4 guys are away from home now. And they also had 3.
Child we kept in the attic.
Is it cat? What was the cat?
Yeah, he's male.
And then they also had 2 exchange students, Meta from Sweden, and she's went back home, and then pronounce this one, Michio from Japan also returned back home. And a big plus for him this past 2 years was he received an award at the University of Colorado it was the Stearns Award, and it was a huge bronze medal. I couldn't stand
How
it.
long?
It was too heavy to carry. And I guess Robert Redford showed up to witness it too, and that was pretty exciting.
He hasn't watched it since.
And that award was for many years of good service to the college, so that was a real honor. And he also started a new job as Director of Alumni at the University of Colorado. And he did say that he really doesn't know a lot about the job.
That's right.
He's only there for 6 months until they find a replacement for him, and then he'll be returning to his job.
We found out from Ralph you have to drink a lot of martinis.
Until they find somebody that knows how to do the job.
Tough job, but somebody has to do it, right?
And then, I think this is your first reunion, right, Tori?
No, it's the second reunion.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Okay. And this is Tori, and she'll be a freshman out in West Virginia. Richmond. And she's changing to a new school this next year, and I think she's excited about that. One of her highlights was her trip with her parents to Jamaica. She said that was a lot of fun. And a real interesting thing about Tori is her job is she works with deaf children and acts as a...
It's not just children, it's everybody.
Oh, okay. It's called CCD, Communication with the Deaf, for the Deaf. And she acts as a modem
No.
I think I'm gonna let her explain.
What do you want me to tell? It's not, no, the phone's hooked up to a modem. I just wouldn't know the word. That's
And you're
what
hooked up to the phone, you have been for the last 5 years.
I think like a deaf person would need to.
A modem is a means of hooking a word processor to the telephone with another one.
She's not that.
That's
what it is.
People who are deaf can call and ask questions at some place, and you are the one who are relaying the answers back and forth, right? We do that at clinic.
So that sounded really neat. She said that maybe in the future she'd like to continue to work with deaf children, or just deaf people. And they do grow up, children. She also knows sign language with that job. And myself, I'm single.
Stop there. There are too many strangers.
No.
Are we supposed to get a t-shirt for you?
I finished 3 years at St. Thomas up in St. Paul, and I'll be going back there for my senior year. And I'm a biology major, and I'm thinking of going into secondary education. Well, a highlight for me the past 2 years was our family trip to Vancouver, British Columbia. I think a lot of my highlights over the past year centered on my family, and I'm really thankful for that. And I've also been packing a lot of boxes this summer. I work in a shipping department, and I can say that I do over 100 things a day at my job. Pack over 100 boxes. And then I'm going to get through this. Some fun that I've taken up in the past years is playing the guitar, and that's brought a lot of joy and a lot of fun to my life. And I'm living in St. Paul this summer in a Christian home with 7 other men, and it's been a real blessing in my life and really strengthened my relationship with the Lord, and I'm thankful for that. And I'm glad to be here. Katie and I flew out to Denver, and both of us talked about how important it was for us to be here and how much fun it is to be here. I think that's kind of the general consensus of our group.
Well, I think the people that reported on each of their groups did a marvelous job. They're good listeners and they're good speakers and they're comfortable in this group. That's neat. Good.
Yeah. Oh. Well, yeah, certainly.
Did we?
Yes.
Did we? So we
Yes.
sent them out in Christmas.
Yeah,
Yeah, Dick? Well, where'd you have one taken? Well, what do you mean with who? I think we can do our 5 for Ben. But have the girl in red sit next to the man in white. Did you want my... Because the red and pink.
Yes, if I could, please.
I'm one of the mountain climbers from this area. I just came down to take some pictures. This one better turn out or I'm going to be upset. Thank you.
Are you related to Grizzly Adam?
Yes, he's one of my dear friends. That's his house up there, see?
Oh boy.
From this side?
What a view.
We're supposed to be in the sun. So what are you going to go do, horseback ride?
Yep, 9:30.
That's
Look at the camera.
Oh, looks good, you guys. Looks good. Yeah. Okay, snuggle up. Okay, now this, on this next one, the girl with the chair. I'll give a a comb? Hey, Pete and Drew, I'd like to have your pictures taken. Just the two of you in the backdrop, okay? Where? Sitting right over there like that. But I want to get a comb. Nick? Do you have a comb? Not for you, for Drew. Does he have a brush in the garden? Oh, wait. Aunt Sue's, Ann's got a brush. Can I borrow your brush? Yeah. I was going to have the boys' picture, but I didn't want to put the two of them. We've got our wedding picture.
Well, that would have made a great shot. No. Okay, right here. Beautiful smile. Look at that elbow.
Well, at first I thought you were head count.
You with Michael.
Okay, well, I'll just talk to you.
I honestly chopped Whoa! There's 4 of them, Drew.
Maybe that's Tom.
Go ride a horse, too? You betcha. Who is that? Hey, Mikey! Michael! Michael! Smile, Mikey! Mikey! Mikey, Pete! Mikey! Don't you smile! Another spine. Hi, Mikey! Mikey, Pete! Don't you smile, Michael! Don't smile! Don't smile, Michael! Don't smile, Michael! I see that smile! I see that smile! Look at the bug choppers, honey.
Saw that.
No, I see it. There I see that smile there.
Bring Dan out.
Don't smile, Mikey. There it is. Mikey. Two of you right up here. Don't smile. I see it. Honey, you're right. He did a good smile. Did he? Yeah. I'm sure. You smile. He looks. Yeah, brothers, don't smile now.
But he's just not a redhead.
On. That's on. Yep, should we dance for you guys too?
Oh, I'm glad.
I'm surprised the camera didn't break with the wood.
That's great. I'm glad you're doing that. Oh, I bet you do miss them.
But we really didn't talk that much. Because, no, we go to Omaha and then it was like, one more. They're so cute.
It's like a really compact toy. Yeah, it is. It's pretty easy to run. It's nice and light.
That camera's still intact, so...
Yeah, camera didn't break. There you go.
Oh, gosh, now I can relax.
Tough holding the stomach, yeah. I know the feeling.
And now he wants to play tennis, so do you think they mind if she came?
This guy, he's a real pro with a big extension on there.
Yeah.
He's a real pro. Let me get under here.
Okay, and then you can. Yeah. Okay, because she wants to play.
We have to wear socks on horses.
Oh, yeah.
Smile! Show your teeth, Grandpa! Do not smile! Show your teeth! Do you feel like you're competing with Princess Di? Cheese! Yeah, right.
We'll be going like this for the rest of the day. It's a good thing we don't have to put on heels.
you.
That's what I'm saying. Mom, I think they're going to take it.
This way. Yeah, not that way.
We have to finish pictures.
That's a Jew. That's a chop.
I love these new clothes that they're making the past couple years. I can buy them. Exactly.
The only thing I suggest is you can use the bench a little bit, put your foot up on. That'll bring you down a little closer to her. Yeah, there you go.
You know, I made brave and put it on the wall. Is that our picture, Joanne? Oh, my.
That's United Church of the Brethren National Youth Conference.
Isn't that a cute
It's
picture?
United Church of the Brethren, and it's their National Youth Conference. They're up here about every 4 years. And a total of 45 minutes from first person came until we said, that's it. And they kind of came slow to us. We had it all spaced out. We could have done it a lot faster, but they were enjoying it. They were having a good time. We had music playing.
Yeah, I saw it. That'll kind of give us an idea what the background will be like. Look at
We were shooting a video of Aurora. One of the fastest growing towns in the country, isn't it?
you put me next to a good one. Go on with you. Brian?
Fill up the benches. We're going to fill up the benches first. So I need one guy in white right next to her. Okay. And Ann, is that your boyfriend? You can take him as one. You can sit down there. Okay, you can sit next to him then. You know, she's very protective of her territory there. Could I get the guy in back? Ann, which one's yours? Okay, I'm going to put you two right there then. All right. So everybody will have to move just a little to give Ann and Pete just a little more room. Move over just a touch. Move over just a touch. Now the other way. Okay, well, we might still be able to do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can do it. It's 10, so. Now the rest of you get in there, mix the guys in with some of the ladies. Step in close, put some hands up on some shoulders of those folks. Come on in. There you go. There you go.
Talk a little bit. Want me to kiss it? Are we ornery or what? Let me kiss it.
Good about getting to know people, isn't he?
Want me to kiss it?
I hear you're very quiet most of the time, Art. Is that true? Yeah? Powder! Get the powder! Did you hear what he said? He said, is that shine too much for you or something? Is that a son-in-law or son? That's right. Now, I'll tell you what you can do, Art. You can touch is this your daughter? You can touch her, you can hold her hand or whatever. Good. We're big on that. This guy right here, is that grandmother? You can put your hand up her shoulder, around, whatever you want. Yeah, whatever feels good. Now, is that your brother? Cousin? You can touch him. There you go. He's a good-looking cousin. Good-looking. The rest of you, reach up, touch some people, put some hands. There you go. Reach out and touch someone. Here's that.
Ready?
1, 2.
Stuffed animal. Oh, what do you say stuffed animal?
Oh, we got a couple here.
Isn't he a mess? He's a Boulder chicken, too. Got him on the Boulder Mall. I can get about anything on the Boulder Mall, I think. There was a nice article in the news about the Boulder Mall the other night. What do you need? Yeah, I'll get you some. Yeah, Boulder. That's Boulder. Look, yeah. You find out here. Takes a lot of work.
And believe me, it's there.
Thank you. Yeah, I wish you hadn't seen me. Did you ever take? The voice thing? What am I thinking of? I think they were black.
Fine. You want to try it? What if you hold it off?
Upon this rock.
Yeah, upon this rock. Great.
I'm glad somebody is there. You are. Yeah. You can more enjoy. I can more. Stretch. Straight. Oh, I think he is. I found my rock.
You found your rock?
That 5 o'clock rock that you meditate on.
Did you come? Is that right?
That was my choice.
Six is a little only sandwiches, you know. Are you a savage?
Well, we're gonna start off by singing a song, and I thought I would just teach a song to you because I don't know what all songs we know. And also, I don't have any music. This is one that I know, but the refrain to this is, sing to the Lord a song of praise with new heart, bless his name. Sing to the Lord a song of praise, to all the earth his deeds proclaim. So why don't we just, I'll just sing through it, Paul, and whoever else knows it. Rachel, you know it. She's not here yet. Huh? And Paul's going to lead a liturgical dance later.
Oh, all right. Oh, great.
Liturgical dance.
Randy, wait. Wow. Oh, I see. At least 50 of those.
It goes like this. Sing to the Lord a song of praise with new hearts. Bless his name. Sing to the Lord a song of praise. To all the earth his deeds proclaim. Sing to the Lord a song
like to read a psalm that reflects about God's creation and His beauty, especially mentions the mountains. He mentions Psalm 104. And I think too, as we listen to this, just that we can really bless the Lord and praise and thank Him for the goodness and the beauty in His creation and all that we experience here in the mountains, but also His goodness in our family and in being together. Bless the Lord, O my soul, O Lord my God, you are great indeed. You are clothed with majesty and glory, robed in light as with a cloak. You have spread out the heavens like a tent cloth. You have constructed your palace upon the waters. You make the clouds your chariot. You travel on the wings of the wind. You fix the earth upon its foundation. With the ocean as with a garment you covered it. Above the mountains the waters stood. As the mountains rose, they went down the valleys to the place you have fixed for them. You set a limit that they may not pass, or shall they cover the earth again. You sent forth springs into the watercourses, and that wine among the mountains. And you give drink to every beast of the field. You water the mountains from your palace. The earth is replete with the fruit of your works. Well watered are the trees of the Lord, the cedars of Lebanon which He planted. In them the birds build their nests. Fir trees are the home of the stork. The high mountains are for wild goats. The cliffs are a refuge for rock badgers. How manifold are your works, O Lord! In wisdom you have brought them all. The earth is full of your creatures. I think as we're here this morning that we just invite, first of all, some of you may have to leave for the horseback ride, and that's fine. But just that anyone is free to share prayer or to share a scripture, and that this time is what we can create and make it. And I just invite and welcome and encourage you to enter in.
I just like to thank God and thank all of you, and especially my family. They are here and in good health and enjoying a wonderful weekend with their relatives, which I think is one of the best things this family has ever done, especially these reunions. I can't get over the fun of it. I know we're just kind of a typical family. We look forward to this reunion. You wouldn't believe everybody had a feeling about it. You know, can I really wait to get here? So we thank God and we thank all of you. Thanks.
Mommy.
And the opportunity to be together and to get and then it all worked out. So many things around the bridge going on. None of them really expected overall.
I'd like to thank the Lord for the inner healing that continues to take place within us and between us and among us.
I just like to thank the Lord for the time here, and also to ask the Lord to bless and protect those family members who are not with us, to be with them, to guide them, keep them safe.
Was sharing with you yesterday that there's a real strong family tradition in the Strubles of being really active in church, going back to the generations long ago that some of the record shows that they were involved in building churches, and that there's just always been a strong church tradition. And just seeing how you live your life and that life of faith, and you try and pass it on to those in your family and those around you, and then they in turn pass it on, and you just think it's been going on for generations and generations, and sometimes it seems like maybe such a small endeavor, but then you just think of the fruit that it's borne and how many times it's been multiplied over. And I mean, how many hundreds or thousands of people that have lived like since the first Strubles have caught that faith from the people, their relatives, and it's a big thing. And it makes your own efforts to live your faith and to pass it on to your kids, and just that real heritage and tradition is really powerful. But I didn't know that about our family, and I've been thinking about it since you shared that yesterday.
I'd like to thank the Lord for Agnes and I. They've become very special people for me. And I guess I felt I really got to know them through working on this book. And I think they're very special people, although I didn't get to know them real well, especially Isaac. But they mean a lot to me, and especially being at Incarnation Church where they were and where Dad and Uncle Bill and Aunt Kay went. I feel very lucky and fortunate to be there, to be a part of it.
Thank you for bringing it up.
Agnes and I.
They are certainly something special to all of us. And, we have a lot of fond memories of them, and just good, normal, natural, wonderful people.
I'm grateful for that tradition because, as a parent, the most important gift that I have to give my children is a real faith experience, to really believe in God and to have a relationship with Christ, and to know that history and tradition is part of this family is, I'm blessed and grateful for the Struble strength in that area. And I really pray that all of us can really continue to live that tradition, be faithful to the Lord in the way that He calls us to serve and to witness, to be His family.
I guess I'd like to share that you never know from whence he speaks, and certainly I've benefited by your part of your family that I'm associated with, from the standpoint that I've gained a lot finally starting to listen and able to share some of these things spiritually that was not a part, was not common in my background, and I'm grateful for that. To you folks and to God.
Without this family, I really wouldn't have too much of a family because I don't have any brothers and sisters. And my parents are dead, and I'm the youngest of 51st cousins. And most of them are dead.
Oh my
gosh. So I really wouldn't have very much family, even though numerically, at one time I really had a large family. But I was at the tail end of it, and so I really wouldn't have them.
We like your picture.
So you've been my adopted family. But it's scriptural because the husband leaves, the son leaves father and mother and cleaves to the wife and her family, and so that's scripturally ordained. So in case no one else is following scripture, at least I am.
You're more righteous. You're a little higher up than we are.
Gonna have the ring out there.
Yeah, you wouldn't care to get that.
I want to thank the Lord that we have the financial resources to go on these trips, and we get together every couple of years, and just
I'm really thankful for the spirit of joy that everybody represents. It's really awesome. It means a lot to me.
Glad to see us, sister and brother, be here with all of our families. It's great, and to have that here.
I'll just thank you, God, for all the healing that, I think of Uncle Ed and what God's done to give him such good health. And just the fear, that we had some years back in his very life. How good God is, and how Grandma Kate and just that, you know, her spirit and her willingness to keep on